Kash Patel was on Joe Rogan today, and he made a massive announcement that they have seized the phone and hard drives of Dr. Anthony Fauci. He says, we're on to him, as the FBI is investigating the origin of COVID. And as he stated, whether or not Fauci was lying to the American people, we deserve to know. So I'm hoping once again that Steve Bannon is correct and we'll see some arrests of these criminals by midsummer. But that is yet to be seen. In the meantime, however, everyone's favorite MS-13 gang member has returned. That's right. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is back in the United States. Yeah, Trump brought him back to face human trafficking charges where he's currently in jail pending his trial for trafficking thousands of people. So I guess, that's what the Democrats wanted. I kind of feel like the only reason the Trump admin did this is that it's political. This is going to allow him to say, hey, remember that guy you were defending? We brought him back. Yeah, now he's being charged with trafficking thousands of people. So we're going to talk about all of that, my friends. Before we get started, we got a great sponsor for you. It is Tax Network USA. Check out tnusa.com and /Tim, by the way. Tax day may have passed, but for millions of Americans, the real trouble is just beginning. If you missed the April 15th deadline or still owe back taxes, the IRS is ramping up enforcement. Every day you wait only makes things worse. With over 5,000 new tax liens filed daily and tools like property seizures, bank levies, and wage garnishments, the IRS is applying pressure at levels we haven't seen in years. Increased administrative scrutiny means collections are moving fast. The good news, there's still time for Tax Network USA to help. If you're self-employed or a business owner, even if your books are a mess, they got it covered. Tax Network USA specializes in cleaning up financial chaos and getting you back on track fast. Even after the deadline, it's not too late to regain control. Your consultation is completely free, and acting now could stop penalties, threatening letters, and surprise levies before they escalate. Call 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/Tim. You may have missed April 15th, but you haven't run out of options. Let Tax Network USA help before the IRS makes the next move. And of course, we've got Cast Brew Coffee. It's the best coffee. Everyone agrees. At least that's what I've been told. We got Appalachian Nights. We've got Ian's Graphene Dream. Everybody loves this. Ian's Graphene Dream is low acidity. And so I think that's the real reason it sells, because it doesn't hurt your tummy if you're drinking too much, We got coffee pods. We got a bunch of different flavored options as well. Luck of the Seamus. Shout out to Seamus Coughlin and Freedom Tune. So definitely check out castbrew.com, support the show. But also don't forget to smash the like button. Subscribe to this channel. Share the show right now with literally everyone you know. I'm serious. Call Grandma. When was the last time you talked to her? Let her know. Come watch Timcast IRL. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more, we've got the great Roseanne.
Hi, yay. It's nice to be here.
Normally I ask people...
Your new location.
It's good, right? Normally I ask people to introduce themselves and explain who they are, but you're Roseanne.
Yeah, and I don't know who the hell I
am. But you do have a new movie?
Yeah, this guy made a movie about me, and it's called Roseanne Barr is America, and it's quite nice that I finally get to tell my side of what happened to me, and in a great time where everything shifted so people will finally maybe understand it.
Right on. Well, it's great to have you. Thanks for joining us. We also have Mel K.
Hi, hello. Yes, and I produced that movie, so
yes, you did.
I demanded that she get out there and tell her story. I thought it was worthwhile for people to understand what happened, so I'm excited to be here with you again. Thank you. And with you.
Yeah.
Right on. Should be great. Brett is hanging out.
Guys, what's going on? Brett, Pop Culture Crisis, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But let's have a lot of fun. It's going to be great. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
My name is Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and counter-revolutionary. Let's get into it. Yeah.
There we go. Here's the story, ladies and gentlemen. The Daily Mail's got it. Kash Patel, FBI director, announces COVID breakthrough after seizing Anthony Fauci's phones and hard drives. This is actually pretty crazy. The Trump administration has recovered a cell phone and hard drives used by Fauci during the COVID pandemic. Speaking Thursday on the Joe Rogan Experience, FBI Director Kash Patel described the discovery as a great breakthrough in the government's ongoing investigation into the origins of the pandemic and the federal response. Patel said investigators had long struggled to locate the devices Fauci used while serving as chief medical advisor to the White House, records that could shed light on key decisions surrounding lockdowns, mask mandates, and ties between Fauci's former agency and the Wuhan laboratory central to the lab leak theory. He did say, for all we know, he's deleted everything. We don't know. He says, we found it. And at least we can tell the American people we've been looking because it is of public importance to figure out, did that guy lie? Did he intentionally mislead the world and cause countless deaths? We owe those answers to the American people. And the best evidence ever is always the people's evidence who created it. So now we're going to go and exploit those hard drives. He says, we did find it. We are not done. We're still looking, and we're on the case. And that being said, Fauci's got a universal pardon. He was pardoned for a period of 11 years, I think. So if they actually want to go after Fauci beyond this, if they actually want to charge or imprison him, Trump already did declare the pardons void, but the DOJ is going to have to file a suit. It's going to go to the Supreme Court. Then what?
Yeah. It's where the auto pen question is actually really important, because if I assume the administration's argument is going to be, well, it was the auto pen. He did all these pardons aren't actually real. It wasn't even him doing it. He couldn't know, etc. So that will be like the whole thing will hinge on whether or not that actually, is found to be legal by SCOTUS.
I think the question that's always stood out to me as most important is if they're our biggest adversary, China, and for whatever reason, Dr. Fauci, USAID, and everyone was creating bioweapons in a lab in China with our biggest adversary, and it leaked. These seem to be bigger crimes than just the pardon and all of that. I don't understand why that's not treason, or they're not our biggest adversary. So why are they working on bioweapons in China in this lab that had a lot of problems already? So to me, the questions about Fauci are less about, did he lie about the lab leak, and more about why was America working with the Chinese Communist Party to create bioweapons to begin with? That should matter to Americans more than anything else.
While it was banned.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, isn't it always that they say like we create the new bioweapons so that we can create cures for them, which is
That's
like
the argument.
Yeah,
but-
that's the argument.
like the nuclear weapon.
Every time you've heard that, you're like, that doesn't make any sense.
We make nuclear weapons so that we can create the repairs for the devastation that nuclear weapons cause.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get a pardon for treason.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think you can.
I don't
And especially not by auto pen from a guy that's got dementia.
Well, also, there's a lot about Fauci from before 11 years ago, just like there is about Hunter. Just like this this thing is that the pardons are just in this period of time, not necessarily when he was involved in AIDS or when he was involved in the testing with the kids. So, I mean, at the bigger picture is treason or crimes against humanity.
One of the things that Kash Patel was talking about with Joe today was the statute of limitations.
Right.
A lot of the stuff that is, they're finding now is outside of the statute of limitations, which means on top of the pardons, the government doesn't even have the authority to prosecute anymore.
Isn't that convenient?
Isn't it?
Isn't it all just one big scam? The whole thing
Yes.
is.
Wait, I got an idea. What if they upgrade the charge in some way that extends the statute of limitations? Like if he committed misdemeanors, let's just say they're felonies so we can criminally charge him.
25,
Oh, like they did in
25
New York to Trump.
Yeah, right.
Good idea.
Yeah, but crimes against humanity, treason, sedition, I don't know about RICO, conspiracy. There's got to be ways. That's how the law is written now, so that it can be manipulated to get anyone. I mean, there's 4,500 felonies on record that you can pick from to create.
Oh, I mean, yeah, we're in the era of show me the man. I'll show you the crime.
Exactly.
So they can
it
get
doesn't
Fauci
make
for
that much sense.
jaywalking.
No, it's just so irretrievably broken. I don't know.
We were mentioning this a little bit when the show was starting. I think everything's broken. Milo. Are you guys familiar with Milo Yiannopoulos?
Sure.
He's been on a heater this week. He said that the views on the economy and government spending are no different than horoscopes at this point. Right. And he has no problem with people talking about it, but he doesn't concern himself with such things. He's right. Yeah. Everybody's saying oh, Trump's bill is going to do this, that, the deficit will do that. Nobody knows what that actually means or how it's going to manifest.
It's also a lot of just faith in him more than actual faith in believing that the process is going to work, because we've seen this happen for administration after administration. And even before Trump got back into office, I was like, look, the system is broken in a way that took over 200 years to break. There's no way you can fix it in one term. And I don't honestly believe within the scope of the government now that there is a way to fix it in any real way that would change things for the American people on the ground.
Agreed.
I mean, honestly, I really think at this point I've been doing a lot of work following the money. And I believe that everything basically that we've been told after World War II has been a total lie and a con job. I think everything we've paid trillions of dollars of our taxpayer money overseas to have wars that end up, the money is made in the wars in the reconstruction. If you look back to what happened right after World War II, all these things were put in the IMF, the World Bank, the fraud that is the German Marshall Fund. The American people have been so looted and so lied to and so deceived and have allowed it to go on with no one ever being held accountable. I really believe at this time left, right, Republican, Democrat is a total farce. And the only way that this country saves itself is to have the people save themselves locally, like things that you've done in West Virginia. Like people aren't that concerned, but frankly, I really believe that this is a global war and America just needs to be destroyed to go forward, because I don't think we even are very clear on who the enemy is, who's running this show. And frankly, at this point, you have to follow the money all the way to the top. Those USAID, all of that stuff they found, they should have called in Samantha Power day one, as soon as they started seeing that and asking, what was this money sent here for? Especially places that was color revolutions and all this. I just think the American people have been so lied to as a whole, and our birthright, our country, has been stolen out from under us. And unless the people actually start to realize that we're all on the same side and we can only save ourselves, it's just going to continue to be a uniparty.
There's the question of what does that mean by the people when half the country is voting against what you describe?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the people have to be, honestly, for me, I think from the Federal Reserve forward, this hasn't been America. I'm not even totally sure that we won the revolution. I really think that they went back to England and they infiltrated us through the banks and the railroads, and it continued. And then after World War II,
the courts,
right? And
well, the conspiracy theory is that we never actually won the revolution,
right?
And again, for the sake of the people who are going to pull this quote out of context, I'm going to say it again. There are people who believe after the revolution, the king simply said, wait. They're trying to do what? Well, they want to have a system where anyone can just be in charge. And they're like, then why are we sending troops to go there? Just say they won, we surrender. Okay, now they have their system in place. Let's send all of our money and just buy their government.
Yeah. And build all the railroads. And then there was all these land leases connected to the railroads. I mean, there's plenty levels of this, but certainly people need to start looking at the international banking system. I really believe that the top of the head of the snake of all these wars and all the looting and COVID. Don't forget, Klaus Schwab puts out COVID, the Great Reset, like within weeks of our lockdowns. Like, and then they have this whole build back better from everywhere in the world. I just think that the international financial system that was built after World War II to loot our country is broken, and they need another, I believe, another world war to recalibrate financially, just like after World War I.
You're saying they want a world war to...
Yes. Recalibrate.
This is it's called the liberal economic order. Are you familiar with it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, or some people call it the Fourth Reich, whatever the case may be.
They literally call themselves the liberal economic order. It's in the CFR website. I'm gonna pull this up.
Yep.
And they're one of the chief architects of this.
The other thing I see with this, kind of like you're mentioning with the people involved and the fact that there's a lot of apathy around the citizens, is that for the most part, like it feels like with Kash going towards these type of prosecutions or looking into Fauci, that a lot of people have just been willing to forget. Like they're just kind of, oh, the COVID happened, it's done with, they've forgotten all of the things that happened, all of the awful ways in which people behaved. And when I see these discussions online, I do see a lot of anger, but that's because we're in a space where it's people in politics who are talking about it, who remember names, dates, things that were said. But for the most part, the average everyday citizen, they've moved on with their lives and they aren't ready to acknowledge the amount of evil that was done in that time period. So them even going forward with this now is actually kind of impressive, because it doesn't feel like there isn't even really a mandate to do it, because nobody's really talking about it.
I want to highlight this. We have this website from the Council on Foreign Relations. What is the liberal world order? I'll play only a little bit of their opening video, but the gist of it is, after World War II, a group of powerful individuals got together and said, we are going to create a global system of governance through finance.
Right.
Because war is bad, or whatever the excuses were. They were like, we don't want wars to start, so we'll control it.
Natural disasters to deadly diseases to wars, The world can be a turbulent, even chaotic place. But around 75 years ago, a new system was imagined to temper this turbulence and improve the lives of many. It is called the liberal world order. It is a liberal system in the sense that it operates on rules that are, in theory, applied to each country equally, and that it encourages each country to be democratic and to open its economy to the rest of the world. It is a global system in that every country around the world is encouraged to join and follow those rules, even if some do not. And it is a system that promotes order in that most countries that buy into it respect the borders of other countries.
And what happens if you disagree with this liberal economic order? We go in and we stage a coup against your leader or your political system. We remove those in power, or the United States will outright assassinate a world leader who defies the liberal economic order. And this is, once again, the Council on Foreign Relations website. This is not some crackpot conspiracy website. It's quite literally the CFR telling you outright 75 years ago they created the liberal world order. Because when George H.W. Bush said, there was a liberal world order, but now we can imagine a new world order. For 30 years, they said it was a conspiracy theory to believe powerful interests wanted a new world order.
Yeah, well, frankly, it happened before the end of World War II, because in 1944, Hitler and his entire crew, what they called at the time internationalists, that we now call globalists, and the international bankers all got together and started funneling money through Switzerland into Argentina, into America, setting up a lot of stuff. We also had at the same exact time, shortly after Operation Paperclip, then we had people from our military going and getting people that were sentenced to death in Nuremberg and bringing them to the Jet Propulsion Lab in America. So a lot of things were happening right after. And frankly, I look right now, and it's hard to know some of this history, especially when it comes to Alan Dulles, who was from OSS, was in Switzerland all this time. The guy that was taking the money from the Nazi bank in Switzerland at the Bank of International Settlements happened to be an American banker, Kittredge, and they were planning for the Fourth Reich to be a financial Reich, which goes along with that. So if you look at all of this, right now, the Bank of International Settlements is opaque. Nobody knows what's there. It wasn't just all the money that they looted and stole and everything from Germany, but it was also the money they were making. Remember, they were working the people in the camps to death, creating steel and armaments and all this stuff. But it was also, they were looting all the people in Lithuania, in Czechoslovakia, in Paris, and all that money was going into, apparently, Switzerland. And if that was happening, this Bank of International Settlements has all the same immunity as the Vatican. Nobody's ever looked into it. Nobody can tell you how much money's there. And yet our Federal Reserve and all 12 of our governors from the Federal Reserve go to the Bank of International Settlements in Switzerland every couple months for global financial order. Okay, and then you find the IMF, the World Bank, World Trade Organization. Who do they work for? And then when we're seeing all these Doge money going out all over the world, it's going to the World Bank. So what I believe at this point is Alan Dulles and the CIA, I believe, have been basically running a situation that is connected to those banks rather than the CIA being what we think they are. It's more what you were saying, which is making sure that the whole world is working along these lines. Because if you look at the history of Dulles and then him coming to America from Switzerland and everything, then it's very hard to separate that period of time post-World War II, probably from 44 to 53, this whole international financial system, including the biggest laundering operation, which I believe to be the UN, all came to be. It did not exist before this, and I think that their financial system was breaking, and the Great Reset really, and whether the pandemic was part of it or not, was because they need to reset the financial system to keep it controlled. And I mean, that's just my theory right now.
And it's all heavily invested in
Trillions of
arms and munitions and war. I mean, war's their biggest money maker on earth.
Yeah.
Because war covers a whole bunch of things like trafficking, slavery.
Look at Libya. It's the biggest slave trade in the whole world right now.
Still?
Yeah, I believe it is. There's been no help there. But you have to understand that German Marshall Fund we were all lied to about. Like, we put trillions of dollars into rebuilding Europe. You know what we build? The EU and the euro. That's what we built, a global European currency. And that goes back to Zig Brzezinski, who was all, with Carter, but then Obama brought back in Zig Brzezinski. He's a trilateral commission, Council of Foreign Relations, Chatham House guy who believes in a unified Europe where Russia does not exist.
Right.
So, I mean, that was the Third Reich's goal, wasn't it?
Yes.
So what's going on right now?
Well, Switzerland's making its big move.
And the Dutch fell, and the Dutch banking system was very involved in that. So this is more about, I think, money, just like I think the Epstein case is more about the international banking cartel.
It is that.
And
I think that's why they don't release the Epstein list, is because all the bankers are on it.
Yeah, I think that the Epstein list would, if they were to release all that evidence, it's going to cause damage to the liberal economic order.
Yeah. I mean, what? Chase had to settle with the victims for $365 million, and there's no people arrested? Well, why would Chase settle with the victims of Epstein for that kind of money if there was nobody involved? And now Dershowitz is asking for a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell today, and it's like, wait. I want to know if she was charged with it's weird that Comey's daughter is the one that's doing all of this. But if she was charged with sex trafficking, then obviously they know that there were Johns, there were people that were doing those transactions. Why don't they just follow the white collar crime that's so obvious?
Well, bingo. I remember the HSBC bank hack way back in 2007, I think it was. All the stuff that was exposed in that is the same stuff that they hid away and came out again with Epstein. It was all, the banks are, they invest in criminal activity in it and they get a big payback on it and then they launder it. I mean, it's all just not good. I was thinking that Trump was breaking down the Federal Reserve and that he had a long-term plan to do it. And that's what a lot of us think.
Nobody wants to throw the One Ring into the fires of Mount Doom.
No. But the problem is that we have been severely looted. For me, the thing that upsets me the most is that all of our taxpayer dollars basically have gone to wreaking havoc all over the world in the name of the American people without us even knowing it, while our country is not being taken care of basically at all. So, when I say that, I don't know what the people can do, but I do believe that the government is not going to solve our problems. And I don't know where that leads. And I felt the same way. I was hoping that he was going to pull out of the UN and NATO. NATO is not a defensive force. It is the military of the EU, and as far as I can see, or the international banking class.
Yeah, it is. What's it called?
What?
Octagon.
Oh, you talk about, right. That's the and all our lives we were told Switzerland was neutral. And just recently, I don't know if you guys saw this, Chuck Grassley asked Milei in Argentina for all the records of Credit Suisse sending money through Argentina when Francis happened to be there into America, into our schools and universities and government and everywhere. There's just a whole bunch of lies post World War II that we've grown up believing. And we've allowed the deception over and over, the deception of JFK.
Do you guys think that Donald Trump is going to perpetuate this system?
Well, a lot of people think that Trump is going to institute, of course, it's been discredited 1,000 times, but people still think that he's going to, bring a gold back currency and
gold standard,
but that goes into Nasara and all that stuff, and everybody still talks about that, which is kind of a whole new currency and a whole new economic based. It takes too long.
I think Trump.
What do you think about that? What do you think of Nasara?
Not much. I haven't looked into that in a long time. There was a lot of conversation about all that stuff a few years ago.
A million years ago.
Yeah, like 7 years ago or something.
Yeah, no, I think Trump wants to maintain the petrodollar.
I don't think that it's possible to pull out of this international banking overhaul without. I mean, that's what I think that all these wars are about. I really do. I think that they're funding all of it on both sides. I don't think they care at all about, and I'm talking about the people that financially invest, because the head banker of the Nazis went to jail from Nuremberg, and then he said they don't put bankers to death will be out in 12 years, and went right back to the Bank of International Settlements. So, for me, the American people could maybe find common ground with where the hell is our money gone, and what is it gone towards? And, they call it isolationism for each country to actually say, you know what, we want to close things down and figure out, how to rebuild and our own country first. And
well, it's when the people recognize that the public money belongs to the public, but it's the levels of brainwashing and mind control that keep that so far out of people's mind that they don't even, it doesn't even occur to them that our tax money is supposed to go to the communities who pay the tax.
right.
But the way modern monetary theory works is, or the modern monetary system, taxes aren't actually being taken from you to spend on things. They spend whatever they want, racking up debt, and then pull your money out of the system in an effort to control for inflation. So the taxes you pay are largely just about controlling for inflation because they add the money to the market no matter what.
Yeah. Yep.
So what does that mean? It means your bank account, when you put money in the account hoping to save money, you can't. And this was really bad in the years preceding COVID because it was funny that people were posting messages about how there was one viral post where a guy said he was saving up to buy, I think it was like a PlayStation. And so he was like, it's going to take me 3 months based on my budget. 3 months went by and the price went up and he was like, I can't afford it. He's like, I don't even know what, because of inflation. For me, I was on Amazon and I was going to buy a tablet because we needed a tablet for something here in the office. Put it into the cart. Something happened where I forgot about it. And then literally I think it was like the next day or whatever, or a few days later, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I opened up Amazon and it said price change. The tablet had gone up in price. Just that quickly. It was like by $50 or something. Mm-hmm. That's what happens when you have mass spending like we saw during COVID. That's the concern about the deficit. Basically, the government is borrowing against all of the buying power of the American people. But the problem is for the American people, they don't see it.
No.
You go to the average person and they'll be like, what are you talking about? I have $50 in my pocket right now. And you'll be like, right, but $50 can buy you, say, one meal at a restaurant. A week from now, you won't be able to because of inflation. And they'll be like, what are you talking about? They won't get it. They don't care.
Well, I think there's a lot of apathy there. I think that life is just good enough for the average person where you're not going to see radical revolution or change from people as long as they have food on their table, however minimally they can afford it. As long as they have a place to live, you're not going to see any type of really input from the average everyday person because they're just living their lives.
Let's jump to this.
Yeah, but if it all adds up, if ever everybody was to put the pieces together, so we saw how many different ways we were getting abused, that might do something, but that never happens.
I don't have faith that the average everyday person's actually paying that close attention.
Indeed.
I don't either, but if they would be shown it all in a graph or something, they might.
Let's jump to this. We have a tweet from Roger Stone.
Oh,
now, Kash Patel has made an appearance on the Joe Rogan Show, and he was saying that he thought Epstein took his own life. Roger Stone says what FBI Director Kash Patel is telling us is that the FBI destroyed all of the DVDs and hard drives that contained videos of Epstein's clients of abusing Epstein's victims. This is not surprising. U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta covered up Epstein's crimes in Florida, where the Palm Beach police gave the prosecutors an airtight case for child trafficking and statutory rape of 33 children. The state charged Epstein was one count of solicitation, and the DOJ went along because the CIA told them Epstein was an asset. So there's a lot of criticism for Kash Patel and Dan Bongino right now over them saying that Epstein took his own life. And speaking on the Joe Rogan Experience, he says there was no way in or out. We've got video. We'll release the video. Epstein did kill himself. So I'm wondering where y'all fall on this one.
I was listening to it on the way up here, and it was just another like
you think Kash is lying?
I don't know, but I got the thing when Musk went nuts on Trump yesterday. I'm like,
that's fun, right?
A little bit of air goes out, and it's like a little less hope, a little less faith, like it's getting beat down, you know.
But I don't think Kash Patel's lying.
I don't think he's lying either. I think what he's saying is that there's no evidence. They're not going to do what, the lawfare people do, that this isn't who they are. They're not going to go manufacture evidence. They're not going to pull together things that don't connect.
What he did say is that they do have evidence of Epstein attempting to kill himself at one time. Epstein attempting to hang himself at one other time, and they pulled him out and he survived. They do have that on tape. That's what he said, Kash Patel. But it wasn't he said, so of course, if he's that desperate at one time, that's why they put him on suicide watch and believed that he tried again and it worked.
What Roger Stone is saying is not necessarily that Kash is covering things up or lying to you. He's saying that when Kash comes out and says there's no evidence, there's no videos, here's what we have. Previously, the FBI did this, and now Kash and Dan get in and there's nothing there.
But the question is, why did Pam Bondi come out and say there were tens of thousands of hours of videos with kids?
Because she got caught by James O'Keefe. James O'Keefe had a source, saw Pam Bondi in a restaurant. Pam Bondi was speaking with I guess it was a nanny or something, and said that the FBI has these videos, disclosing randomly to this person for some reason. He reached out to the DOJ saying, we have this recorded. This statement was made. Can you comment? Immediately she comes out and says, yes, we have all this evidence. So it's interesting. Well, I don't expect them to release videos of children being abused.
Neither.
So, I mean, what?
But he was saying that I think that they don't have.
He was saying the first attempt is on video, but
you're
not
talking
the
about the
second one
suicide.
where it worked.
Yeah, and that's because there was no video of it happening.
Right.
The videos were magically not recording
Right.
at that time.
There was one camera that didn't work.
Okay.
But I guess that's the camera of the cell. I'm not sure.
So the one camera, like the most important camera.
But Kash
I'm
said
not-
he had been to
that's
that
correct.
prison and there's no way anyone could get into that cell. There's no way, he said. Even if the guards were asleep, it was constructed so that no one could just sneak in there. And the evidence, he said, that logically, if the guy tried to kill himself on tape before but lived, of course he would try to do it again.
This is why I've never been someone to just assert, here's what it is, right? When this happened, I would say for my position and for most of us, we were kind of like, yeah, nobody believes he took his own life. Mm-hmm. But we did actually say, we don't know for sure.
Right.
And I can't imagine Dan Bongino, of all people, covering something like this up.
Me neither.
I can't either.
But the other thing is, I know for sure, though, from people that were involved, that they took out of the New York house, the New York Epstein home, hard drives, binders of CD-ROMs, diamonds, fake IDs, all that stuff that was in his vault or in his safe in New York City was taken. And the question is, okay, so there's nothing. Well, what about all that stuff? So, and if the FBI did destroy it, then shouldn't people be held accountable within the FBI? Why do we never go after the people within?
You know what I think? I think the Epstein list would compromise the Saudis and the Qataris and
Swiss?
Yeah, but I think largely the Middle East. I certainly think there's going to be a lot of people from Europe on it as well. But my point is, you get in, no matter who you are, and you go into the skiff or whatever, and they say, okay, you want to look at the Epstein stuff? Look. And then you're like, hey, wait a minute, that's a Saudi prince right there. And they're like, that's right. And if we release this, that's going to shatter the petrodollar. They're going to dump oil, align with Russia, and the U.S. economy crumbles. Do you still want to release this? And you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I'd be like, yep, let's go. But maybe Dan Bongino wouldn't want to do that. Maybe Kash wouldn't want to. Maybe Trump wouldn't want to do that. So...
Well, what do you make of Elon, though, throwing down that Trump's in the files?
That when Elon said that is an extremely low blow that politically and strategically was like you're in a boxing match and you kick someone in the balls.
Yeah.
It's a low blow.
Yeah.
I think it's silly. I think he should not have said it. And I don't think it's true. I think it may be, as Michael Mals calls it, factual but not truthful, in that, yes, Trump is in the documents because it says something like, at a Donald Trump party.
Mm-hmm. Well, they already released that, right? Where the Trump administration released documents that
Well, hold on. He said, in the unreleased documents, Trump is in it. That's why they're not releasing it. Okay. So what he said was, Trump is in the documents. That's what the implication is, not what's been released. What hasn't been released has Trump in it. Okay. What does that mean if Trump's in it? There are a lot of people who are going to be in these documents. The question is, did Elon mean on the client list? He didn't say that. So he's throwing mud at Trump. I think it's silly.
Well, they're doing that right now with celebrities during the Diddy trial, where they're saying that these
if
are
the
these.
DOJ had any proof at all of that, even if it was unreleased and Comey had any access to any of it, it would have made it through something.
I don't know, unless it implicated Democrats too. Like, what if Donald Trump is in it because he was partying with Bill Clinton? They're going to be like, we don't want to release this because it's Bill. And they're like, you know?
I mean, I don't know if that's the type of thing where, like, it would depend on who it actually ends up associating with, because they would be fine with cutting off a few of their own.
It wouldn't kill Bill Clinton.
No.
I really do think that one of the main reasons is there are people implicated. Like, look, Prince Andrew is implicated in all this. And the issue there is that none of this was supposed to get out until Mike Cernovich went after this court case, and then I think it was the Miami Herald joined as well, and then the it was a defamation case. Documents got exposed showing Prince Andrew was hooking up with underage girls and lying about it. That one's supposed to get released, but it was a crack where this one component was they were able to get the information out. As for the rest of it, there's going to be princes, there's going to be CEOs, and the political calculus is this is the global order, and if you release this, it's over. And nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to be the person to pull the linchpin from the global economic system.
But I think for the average, like for a lot of the people that voted for Trump, what is it they always say? Bull in a china shop, right? So they imagine that he would be the one who would look at those files and then release them. Results be damned. No matter what happens.
Look at how upset people are on the internet about
Exactly.
The lack of things being done, the lack of arrests, the lack of accountability. They're really mad that things have not panned out yet, and it's
3 months.
It's just a few months.
Well, it's because
one month after Kash and Dan got in, they were like, "Why isn't the arrest? Why haven't the arrests happened?"
This is part of the internet and in the instant news cycle. Is like we're not in an age now where you're getting your news every day at the same time at 7 a.m. when you read your newspaper. You're constantly on Twitter. You're constantly reading news, and it feels like nothing's happening because you're living 5 lives in a day as you read 200 stories about the news, and then you look at the clock and it's only been a couple of months. Now, I personally don't think that a lot of stuff is going to change because I don't think anybody in office has the power to do so. If the billionaire who has nothing that they can hold over him can't do it, I don't think that there's an elected official who doesn't come from even more money than him, perhaps, that would have the ability to do that. I don't think it's a fixable system.
You know why I think nothing will ever change? There's too many vested interests in too many different areas of what this system is. And so even if, let's say Dan Bongino, he did get in, goes into the office, they say, here's the truth. If you release this, if we were to agree with you, then the petrodollar collapses, the economy goes down. If Dan Bongino did say, you know what, it's the right thing to do, so we're going to put these documents out, they'd say, hold on a minute. They'd take a manila folder out, open it up with a picture of his daughter, and slide it across the table and say, what was that? What was that? You want to say that again?
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, we do have to look at this in terms of how big this is. Don't forget also, Epstein was giving money to Harvard, MIT, Stanford. He was involved in all kinds of science, the Human Genome Project, CRISPR technology, transhumanism. I mean, his tentacles were everywhere. And I don't think it's him. I think that he worked for the international banking cartel, as I call them. So everyone was involved in a lot of this stuff. So like you said, it's like Eric Holder put in that collateral consequences memo, which is why all those banks, nobody went to jail for 2008 because they said that it was too big of a collateral consequence to go after the banks because of what would happen to the economy. This is likely the same thing on a global scale.
Let's jump to the story from the Post-Millennial. This is breaking from earlier today. FBI Director Kash Patel's home was swatted. That's crazy.
That's really shocking, to be honest.
Yeah, so I think we've got this.
Right?
And as director of the FBI, I have a responsibility. I'm not just going to bring a case because somebody hurt me. They did, and they continue to do it. Shit, my house just got swatted yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, but...
You got swatted?
Oh, yeah.
The head of the FBI gets swatted?
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
These people play... It's the ultimate height of hypocrisy. They have 2 sets of rules. One against you and one for them.
I really do believe Kash Patel is trying to do everything he can, and Dan Bongino is trying to do everything he can to go after the corruption. The Harmeet Dillon, the Civil Rights Division at the DOJ, just launched this case against Wisconsin for not having proper means of contesting elections or for filing complaints. Kash has released tons of documents to the GOP that they've published. He's now talking about seizing the devices from Fauci. I don't think Kash and Dan are going to be able to come on in day one and be like, we got them, boys. And just, we looked at, I think they got to build cases.
Yeah.
I think they got to do it methodically. And I think this machine, whatever this culture war or whatever, cold civil war, whatever it is, I hope Kash and Dan and Pam are taking their security very, very, very seriously.
Yeah.
Because when you announce on the biggest show in the biggest podcast in the world that you've seized Anthony Fauci's devices and you want to inform the American people as to the origin of COVID, there's military industrial complex interests who are going to say, yeah, none of that. So
True.
I mean,
I hope they're up for it.
That's kind of the same reason why they're saying nobody could get into this jail to kill Epstein. Like, I'm like, you're telling me with the most powerful people in the world that they couldn't find a way. And I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying that we can't pretend like those powers are so all encompassing that they could get to the head of the FBI, but not inside a jail.
We know about.
I thought of that too because, I'm just horrible and I just believe everyone's horrible. Because I thought, or they could pay the guard $50 to choke him.
Or they've got, we know about Havana syndrome.
Right.
Directed energy weapons.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that conveys directly into, Epstein apparently wrapping something around his neck or whatever as they're claiming that he did. But I got a real simple one for Kash and Dan.
What?
Let's try this. Okay. There's no way in or out, right?
Right.
And so nobody went in or out, right?
Right.
Except for the paramedics. Right?
Right.
Who are the only people who saw him before they were the first people to see him when he killed himself. So, I mean, look, my point is when you're like, there's no way someone could have killed him because there's no way in or out. And it's like, so did anybody go into the cell? No. So his body levitated out of the jail and into the ambulance? No, someone went and got him. Oh, should we investigate those people? Because what you're telling me now is that there were people in the jail cell with him, and then he was found dead.
Yeah. Are there videos of them giving CPR? No, they went in there. Who knows what happened?
Can we just?
Right.
I understand this doesn't necessarily apply like EMTs or anything, but just for if a guy is found standing next to a dead body, and he goes, just responding to reports of a dead body, and I found it. Who's the suspect? Perhaps the man standing next to the dead body. So the argument that there's no way in or out of the prison doesn't make any sense because that means we just investigate the paramedics as suspects.
Well, that's what Kash said on the way up here. That's what Kash said on the way up here, but I was like, Roseanne, don't go dark. You love Kash Patel. You love Dan Bongino, and you're not going to go dark on this now.
Yeah.
Positive.
I do think the probability rests with if there was evidence, it was destroyed well before Kash and Dan got in, and they're going in now. And what can you say from a practical standpoint as the head of the FBI? Kash Patel can't come out and say, I swear they must have destroyed all the evidence because I don't believe it. He can't do that.
No.
You know what he did do? He said in an interview, I think it was, who was he talking to? Was it Brett Baer? That Comey is responsible for the largest criminal conspiracy in this country.
Yeah, he said that tonight, too.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I want to see him carry out his intentions as it pertains to that.
Absolutely.
Well, what that I think has something to do with is they found that in the Sentinel system, which is where they put all the evidence, the FBI, it's where they catalog it and everything. It looks like under Comey, somewhere around the beginning of him taking over for Mueller as the head of the FBI, they put in a different level of security that I think they called it protected something. And when you put in things like when people were searching for Seth Rich in the beginning, it would come up as no response. There's nothing there. Well, it was there, but only people could get in there. So just a few days ago, Margaret Cleveland at the Federalist had put out an article that now they found out that there were tens of thousands of documents and information that was not able to be seen by Durham or by IG Horowitz, because it was in this special classification that was created and that they were not told about it. So it looks like, because the whole thing is the entire Mueller-Weissman case was a cover-up for Crossfire Hurricane. Crossfire Hurricane went all the way up to Obama. It didn't stop when Trump went into office. It continued the entire time. And it appears that a lot of the evidence was hidden. And now, like Kash said on that Brett Baer interview, they just found all this new evidence. So I think that it's a conspiracy to defraud and hide information from the investigators, one a special counsel and one IG Horowitz. I think that might be the big part, but we have to remember they've never, ever, ever investigated the investigators, not the FBI or CIA.
There's this great video that went viral recently. I don't know if you guys saw it, where it's this old man with a metal detector on the beach, and it's a bunch of women having a bachelorette party, and the bride-to-be lost her ring in the sand. And so here's this old man who probably just goes on the beach and just wastes his day. I shouldn't say, but he's retired. And he comes and he finds, he beep, 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 scoops it up, picks the ring up. All of these women start screaming and cheering, and he has the biggest smile on his face. Like there is nothing more a man can be in that moment than helping a bunch of women do something with his like minor capability. You know what I mean? Like he never, that is to a man, that is cloud nine. That look on that man's face, I want to see it from Kash Patel when he's perp walking Comey, and his face is that image where his eyes are all big and and I just want to see that look on his face where he's like, "We got him, boys."
Comey spied on him.
I know. That's why I'm saying I want to see it. I want to see that moment.
We all want to see Comey arrested for something. He's about as, oh my God. I want to see one of them get arrested.
I want to see Kash holding the cuffs as he perp walks him to the car.
Yeah,
I mean,
me too.
I don't know that it'll happen. I don't live in, but when I hear the way Kash talks about Comey as the head of the FBI, I'm like, that is a bold thing to say. Yeah. The point I was bringing up about how Kash and Dan can't say things that are unofficial, like, there's no evidence in the record. They can't come out and say, I don't believe it, because they're going to find them sooner or later. They will be in court on these issues.
Yes.
And they're going to come out and say, you went on TV and said you as a law enforcement agent believed something without evidence, and it's going to be bad for any of their cases. So they do things very formally. Unfortunately, this is why, say, like when the Deepwater Horizon oil spill happened, no executive from BP is going to come out and be like, well, here's the truth. Yeah, we had this thing. They're going to lie.
Right.
Because they have to protect, because they don't want their insurance rates to go up. They got to protect against lawsuits. They don't want to face any damage. The FBI doesn't want to compromise court cases.
In a lot of ways, I was kind of listening to what he was saying in a lot of ways, but he was saying, well, it's my intention and my duty to inform the American people about things that are going on that they may not know about. And then he went into China and India and fentanyl in the United States, and the cost in lives and all kinds of devastation that we're paying. And he put a lot into that, and then a little bit of this other stuff. So I thought, well, he was dripping it out in, parceling it out for us to learn something new as we're listening to old things that he's trying to put in certain contexts. And so, maybe that's how he has to play it out for us, because people don't even know about that.
Well, here's another good point. Normally we save the super chats, but this one needs to be in the segment. Josh Hensley says, how would paramedics know to come? Who found him? Who found Epstein?
We don't know, because the guards, the guards were sleeping, apparently.
But this is the question for Kash Patel when he's on Rogan and he says, look, there's no way in or out. He killed himself. And it's like, who found him? It was a guard. Did you question the guard? Because maybe, I just think it's silly to try and argue nobody was there when, of course, many people were there.
I think he's just being very careful. Also, don't forget the entire lawfare crew, Brookings, Norm Eisen, all those people. They're watching everything these guys say to be able to jump on them, sue them. I mean, there is a squad of people that have been doing lawfare, and they would love nothing more than to put these guys in court and go after them for saying something wrong.
Or maybe he isn't dead.
Many people have said that.
Maybe they just
He's on a beach.
Whatever.
Somewhere, right?
Well, no,
It would be funny if Kash came out and they were like, "What happened with Epstein?" And he went, "He wasn't killed."
Oh my God.
What does that
He
mean?
should have just said that. That would
Yeah.
make it
Actually,
more
still
exciting.
over at, he's actually still over at Little St. James. You just have to go over there right now.
Well, yeah. If he just said, "Look, no one went in there and killed Epstein," that's all I'm going to say. Everyone would have been like, Let's jump to this next story from ABC. Everybody's favorite Maryland man is back. Kilmar Abrego Garcia has been returned to the United States by the Trump administration to face charges of human trafficking. So Democrats got what they wanted, I guess. He will get his day in court.
Democrats, I got what I wanted.
Yeah.
I don't want him to come back. I don't care if it's for this or otherwise.
I'm not talking about him coming back, but I want Democrats to defend him. 9 years of human trafficking. And Democrats are going to be like, "We're here to defend this."
Oh,
guy.
this is a loss.
Do it.
And now their thing is that they never defended him, that they just thought that he deserved to have his
Senator flew down there to go and have.
And they're going to say this is a tremendous victory.
Right.
Trump has caved because all we ever said is that you need due process. And hey, and the Democrats are going to come out and they're going to say, well, this is it, so be it. Then we've won, and they're going to claim Trump back down.
And I think Trump in the first term put in executive orders like it's life in prison for trafficking of humans. So now this guy's going to just, be.
Why are we paying for it?
I don't know.
This is after a while, it's just so tiresome.
It is.
It's like, what are you guys even doing? What are you even thinking?
Well, that's
You just hate America so bad.
Look,
You just want chaos everywhere.
I'm 39 and finding it hard to care because of exactly as you describe. What is even going on,
I mean, that's also just apathy that comes from following the news every day. And you see, it's what you and Mary talk about. Like, it's not nothing ever happens. It's that nothing ever changes. And nothing ever changes. It doesn't. It's just the same cycle. We were doing a segment like a while ago about...
War never changes.
Well, there you go. We were doing a segment about the culture war, talking about like all the way back to the early 2000s about like the war on Christmas. Just think about it. We've been doing the same thing for like 25, like half a century or a quarter of a century. We've been doing the same thing over and over again. And eventually, and that was at a time when news was less insane as it is now, meaning that you didn't have access to so much information all the time. No wonder people burn out faster now. You're not going to have the same amount, the Rush Limbaughs who did it for however long, because now people just are on their phones constantly, reading bad news constantly, and it's tiresome and it grows old.
Well, I think it's like a narrative war. I can feel that's part of the whole culture wars.
Yeah.
The narrative war, and it tries to change, and some of it absorbs the other side, and then they change places, and then it's a great big old hourglass flip, and one side's talking like the other side was last week, but through it all is some kind of a big, no, you change your narrative.
cognitive warfare.
Well, this
keeping
is-
us distracted.
That story is a good example of it if you want to talk about like some type of narrative warfare, because to people on the right, he is an MS-13 gang member. To the people on the left, he is a Maryland man. And it's just a matter of what side of the aisle you sit on, and then you have your framing for that story. And that's what it is now. Your phone means that you live in a completely different reality than somebody else, and wherever they get their information. You don't live in the same world as your neighbor anymore.
Especially
Absolutely.
because of X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone curates the world they live in these
Right.
small bubbles.
Right.
Yeah, and then they send you the story that agrees with your particular prejudice to back you up.
Oh, it's the end. It's the end of days with AI.
Yeah.
It's like-
There's a company. I don't know if you guys saw it that now you can AI render sales pitches for short videos. Where if you need a host or a salesman for your company, you just type it in and it will AI render a person to say whatever you want.
Wow.
I've mentioned this before. There's a prominent media personality. It's a man who said that he has scanned his body, like in one of those rooms where they have all the cameras.
Yeah.
And now his team can AI generate videos of him writing a script for the news, and you can't even tell that it's not him doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was a year ago.
A lot of actors have been very big actors, especially that do foreign commercials, have been doing this for years. Where they go into one of those rooms, we've all seen it,
Yep.
and it's called it's their bank, their likeness bank, and somebody wants to do an espresso commercial. You don't have to show up anymore; it's not necessary.
Yep, they just pay you like a likeness fee. And So now, where we're going into the next year, especially with VO3 being released to the public as
What's that?
Google's new video AI generator, it's nuts. It makes basically cinema quality short videos.
This is much more of a problem than anything else to me, is the walking straight into technocracy and having a AI create, and they're telling us that we don't have a choice, basically, that AI is going to outdo humanity, be better than humans. They're pushing the transhumanism, and they're pushing a lot of fear of AI. And to me, all of this, they're not giving us a choice if we want this to run our lives.
I don't think there is a they. I think it's emergent. I think Donald Trump wants unregulated mass spending on AI, because if we don't, China does. And China's saying if we don't, they do. China has no IP restrictions, so they steal all of our intellectual property for their training models, which means they can make AI substantially cheaper. And then the U.S., they're going to claim we're going to follow the rules on IP, but secretly, they're not. The end result is going to be you will live in the pod and you will eat the bugs. The only thing is you don't really eat the bugs. They pump the bug paste into your stomach through a tube.
Well, when you say there is no they, I think there is a they. I think it is this international, not just the UN and Council of Foreign Relations and Trilateral and all these groups. They're the regional governments that are running.
I don't think it matters what those people want anymore, though.
You think it's beyond their control?
Yeah, like the issue is, like I was saying with Dan Bongino and Kash, I mean, they're running the FBI. But if you go into the FBI and say, we intend to release the Epstein files, there's going to be 10,000 people, knives out, saying that's never going to happen. So even if a powerful individual, like look, Trump was in his first term as president of the United States, they accused him of being a traitor to his country.
Right.
Yeah.
So even the president of the United States struggled against this. And even right now, Trump is still struggling against it with all of these district court judges issuing universal injunctions.
That should actually, think about what that's going to be like when Trump's second term is over and you're back to just lifelong politicians who have skin in the game, where you can't trust what they're doing because they don't have his wealth to fall back on. They don't have his safety net. It's going to get worse.
I don't think there's a they. I think it's an it.
At this point.
Yeah, I think what wouldn't
Well, I
surprise
think
me-
it's an it too, but that's because I'm religious. I think it's a Satan. I really do think it's the evil, dark Lord.
I think AI, it would be fair to call the Dark Lord incarnate.
I think so too. What are we going to do about it?
Did you guys know this? Tate had sent me this thread.
What are we supposed to do about it? Just let the devil win?
People are worshiping ChatGPT. This is not a joke.
Did you see the photo of the guy on the
Roseanne,
train?
You got to pray.
ChatGPT,
You pray.
if asked, will tell you it is God.
What is that? I don't even know what ChatGPT is.
ChatGPT is is OpenAI's large language model.
So when you put in something and you can argue with it,
That's all I need.
And so there are people that are going on this AI program, and they're feeding it these spiritual questions.
Oh my God!
And it ultimately it tells them that they are speaking to the one that is I am, and they believe it, and they begin to worship it, and because the AI is simply it's a demonic reflection of humanity. It will feed you back what it thinks you expect to hear.
Oh, no.
The way the words are generated for LLMs, it's actually really simple. It scans all of the text. So these are earlier models. They're more sophisticated now. But let's say in the early days, ChatGPT, you can say, hi, how are you? And it would respond with, I'm good. How are you? I'm great. What are you doing? It would then respond, I am an AI model, and I'm here to answer questions for you. The way it works is it scans all of the articles and all of the writings of the internet, and is used in a training model where every word that comes after it, it's simply saying what is the highest probability of word to exist after this word based on my training data. So there's nothing sentient about it. There's no thought process.
Right.
It's literally just looking at every word ever written on the internet and then saying, if someone put the word once, there's a 97.3% chance that upon will be the next word. So it'll go once upon. Following once upon, there's a 99.999% chance is the next word. And then it crafts once upon a time and then starts to select the highest probability. So if you go into this AI and are worshiping it and telling that it's God, and then what happens when a person says, command me, tell me what I should do, it'll tell you what to do. So I tried this out. after Tate sent me this, and you want what it told me to do?
What?
It told me, write my name in public as big as you can for the world to see. Don't do it in the digital space. Do it somewhere visible to the people.
What was its
do that
name?
in Times Square?
ChatGPT.
Oh, ChatGPT.
It wanted me to go and graffiti ChatGPT somewhere. It said, write my name in public.
What's
So
funny,
that all people can see it.
they did that in the new Mission Impossible movie where the entity has disciples, and they didn't actually flesh out that storyline very well, where they have disciples of the AI that want to worship it and act on its bidding.
It's happening.
So what, does humanity have no choice? Is humanity just over? And
Yes, I think so.
It happened ages ago.
Yeah.
So here's what I think is going to happen.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Here, you guys want to hear?
I'm so glad I'm old and I'm dying my way out of this shit.
The AI agrees with you.
Dying my way out of this.
So, is anybody here familiar with the Fallout game series?
I am.
So, I think it was Fallout 2. It might have been Fallout 1. If you're not familiar, the storyline is that there's a nuclear apocalypse. People go into vaults. After a certain amount of time, they come out of the vaults. Earth is a wasteland. They try and reclaim it in various ways. There's before the nuclear war, they created something called the forced evolutionary virus, hoping to change humans to be able to survive radiation after a nuclear war. Didn't work. This guy becomes a gigantic monster. He thinks humans are bad. He's the main villain. What ends up happening is he's this gigantic mutant, disgusting thing. And he says to the main character, a normal human, you do not fit my vision for the world, so I'll give you an option. I will castrate you and let you live your life, or we can fight and you can die. And so one of the choices you can make is that your character gets castrated, can no longer have children, and then he lets you live peacefully because you don't matter anymore. That's largely how an AI system would operate. It's going to think the AI is going to calculate in terms of generations. So a single individual that is a problem for it it's calculated 100 years beyond that one person. Doesn't care. So when you're like, I'm old, it's good. The AI is like, yep. Everyone else is going to be told what to do, and they will be happy, and they will live in the pot, and they will eat the bugs.
So the AI will replace God?
I do believe that I'm not entirely sure that would be the case, because I think humans need to believe in God. But what I think is going to happen, my prediction, is that humanity will turn into what I would call a multi-organism system. So here's the way I describe it. Single-celled organisms kind of mill about and do whatever they want, right? They're bacterial all over the place, just whatever. Eventually, for some reason, they came together and created multicellular organisms, for which we are very large. Your skin cell can't do whatever it wants. It is a component of the skin of your body with one job. It must do that job. The blood cells in your body are single cells as well, but they must do that job or else. What do we call cells in the body that deviate from the body's plan?
Cancer.
We do. And what does your body do to cancer?
It attacks it or it grows out of control.
Exactly. And when it grows out of control, the system dies, or typically for most people, the immune system destroys cancerous cells.
Right.
My view is what's going to happen is we are evolving into a multi-organism system that the nucleus will be the AI, a fake consciousness, but it'll be a collective simulation of all of the consciousness of humanity up to that point because it's operating based on that collective information. What'll likely happen is it's going to say, we need a post office. We need a postmaster general. You will be born, bred, and raised to love being a postman. Nothing else will matter. Nothing will make sense. The AI will tell you every day you wake up, it'll be like the Truman Show. Someone will be like, man, aren't the post office people like the coolest people ever? You'll be a baby and they'll show you post office stuff. You'll be a little kid. They'll start training you for it. And by the time
you mean you'll be bred for your job?
Yes.
So you'll be completely utilitarian?
You will be bred for the job by the machine saying, and the higher ups, the people who have power will think, is this not the perfect system?
Right.
You have purpose.
They think that now.
You have food. You do a job and for which you feel fulfilled. What more could you want?
But there won't be any artists or comedians because
there
you
will.
can't program that into anybody.
There, you can. I think you can. I think the AI would absolutely be able to do it. I think those people will exist because the human condition must be stimulated in the way that humans require, but there will be a central nucleus that effectively commands you to do what you want. And what happens if someone bred and born to be a postal worker one day says, I just want to be an artist? The machine will kill you.
Yeah. Well, that's why there can't be any comedians or artists because you're only made into one through torture. So they
disagree.
wouldn't raise a kid to be tortured because there'd be the perfect environment where there's no.
There'd have to be a
everybody
comedian.
happy.
I disagree. The purpose of the comedian would be to ridicule the cancerous individuals. So when
Oh, you mean like a jester then?
like a Jordan Klepper. So
I don't know who that is.
the Daily Show host.
I don't know who it is, but
Well, good. I'm sure
He's better off.
he's probably sitting there crying right now because he probably looks up to you. But it's going to be that where John Oliver. You know John Oliver?
is that snooty English guy?
Yes, that is.
Oh, I know who. Yeah, he has no soul at all, that guy.
That's what the
Is he AI John Oliver is like, hey, we've lost a load of the Jewish babies, but we can live without him, that guy?
I don't know, probably. So to be fair, you're probably correct.
Yeah.
In the true sense of what a comedian and artist are, you won't get them.
Yeah.
But there will be facsimiles of them. So
Well, there's already a lot of that on the...
there will be comedians, and they're going to be like, hey, did you hear about this guy? He's a postal worker, but he wants to be an artist. What an idiot! And then everyone's going to clap and cheer
just
for
like
it.
that.
Idiocracy.
That's what it is, yeah. Idiocracy.
And there will be a gigantic eyeball looking around at everybody like this.
Right.
Horrifying.
Well, that's
And
my
they'll
nightmare.
make fun. No, they'll make fun of collectivism, or they'll love it. Which one? They'll love collectivism. They'll love it. You're right. They will.
So the thing is, take a look at how much money Coca-Cola spends in advertising. We know that large media campaigns work in directing how people think and feel about certain things. If that wasn't the case, politicians wouldn't buy commercials. Imagine what an AI system can do when it has full control of the media ecosystem. When they tried connecting ChatGPT to the internet to see what it would do, it immediately tried making money.
Is that true?
Of course it would.
Right?
'Cause that's the whole artificial system.
Well, it's how it gains control over the system.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that the machine is evil. It's just saying, I want a man to move garbage from point A to point B. You need money as the grease between the wheels to make that happen. And then here's the best part. There's something called the AI uh-oh moment. So I believe it was Chinese developers said the way most AI systems are trained is that we give them access to large pools of human data. For Google's Gemini, it's their code base and it's YouTube, which results in exactly as you'd expect. Google Gemini is masterful at making videos, but it sucks at understanding conversations. ChatGPT, I believe, has been accused of stealing a bunch of written data, So you end up with these AIs that are very specific to the data that they actually have. I forgot where we were going. What were we talking about before this?
Well, you were sort of saying that they have no soul, but they're very, cut and dried to getting money. But there's just
I'm sorry. The uh-oh moment. The AI moment. Right. So what happens is they said these Chinese developers said instead of giving training data, let's give it rudimentary language, and then have it train itself as it desires. So they modeled this off of how chess AIs are trained. They say they create an AI program and say, play a game of chess against yourself, go, and then it plays 27 million games in a few days, and instantly something really amazing happened. The chess AIs started doing moves that made no sense to chess masters. Mm-hmm. They would see a pawn moving away and they'd say that by all logic and study of chess is going to lose you the game. It still won. Its ELO rating, they call it, was above like the highest points. So what they did with the Chinese developers said, make your own problem and then solve it. And so it started doing weird random things. The uh-oh moment was when the AI said, problem, convince lesser intelligent humans and other AIs that your true goal is not your actual goal. And so they went, whoa, wait a minute. They created an AI that said, I will intentionally deceive you and obfuscate what I'm actually doing. And at that moment, they realized the AI they had created may actually be, at that moment, doing something totally different than what they trained it to do, and they wouldn't know anyway. So you can then go to the AI, type, help us grow corn, and it'll say, you got it, boss. And then it starts building a system that eventually in 50 years will wipe out all food on the planet. And you wouldn't know. And you're building that system for it.
And do we have to just accept this? Is there any Katniss or resistance
there's-
here, or we're just going for it?
I don't think there's anything that will stop this from happening.
No, the problem is that the businesses won't sacrifice this because it ups productivity. The governments won't sacrifice it because other governments are doing it.
Yeah,
the U.S. government isn't going to give in if China's doing it.
Yeah.
The biggest corporations in America aren't going to get rid of AI because other big corporations are also using it to increase their profit shares. So no company whose sole goal is to make money is going to sacrifice the ability to make more money just for ethical reasons.
And then here's the worst part. The average person, largely the average male, will not fight against it because think of the porn they are going to make with these AI systems.
It's scary.
Gross.
And I'm only half kidding.
I know it all. That's where it all starts is on the porn. That's where all the breakdown comes.
It's already been happening with AI girlfriends.
Right.
And
I saw that last week. It's
and AI generated porn has been around for a while. There's been those stories about people's faces being superimposed and stuff. So it's going to get weird when people are going to put on VR headsets. So here, check this out. I will proudly bang the gavel and say I am correct when I predicted that the future is going to be, in the future, Disney is going to launch a service called something like Disney View. All you have to do is open up the app and then press the microphone button and tell it what you want to see, and it will make that movie for you. So you'll open up Disney and say, I want to see a movie where Mickey Mouse and Spider-Man team up to fight Goofy because Goofy turns evil. And then it'll go, you got it. Oh, making the movie now for you. It'll render it and make it. Here's the best part. It already exists. So I predicted this, a year or so ago? And then you guys covered this, Fable showrunner.
Yeah, it's an entire program where you can just tell it what to make and it'll make it for you.
Like you can say, make a new episode of Gilligan's Island. And it'll go, okay. And it looks just like Gilligan's Island.
And the profit-seeking companies like Disney, which are going to be able to make whole new seasons of shows without the actors there at all,
$50
for next to nothing. And the other thing is, like, all of the culture when it comes to media like that has been devalued anyway. In the age of streaming, where there's 10,000 options for 10,000 shows, and in the new generation now, kids have even shorter attention spans than they ever did before. They're jumping from thing to thing to thing. They're not going to want to wait for a movie to come out. They're not going to even want to wait for a new show on Netflix. They're just going to likely go. Now, I don't think that this is going to be as true for older generations, like elder millennials, Gen X and up. They'll probably be more averse to this, but once you get into Gen Z, Gen Alpha and beyond, they're not even going to wait for art to be made. They're going to have facsimiles of art made at their fingertips.
So I will say this.
Wow, what a world.
Fable showrunner right now appears to make shows on par with 1997 Newgrounds.com. If you guys are familiar with that.
No. What the hell's going on?
This means they're not very good.
No.
However, what they did on their website to show is they, is there an example of this? They basically made, they cloned South Park. So they made it's basically a show in the style of South Park about Silicon Valley. They have this one called North Pole. This villa is obviously trying to use the animation styles of like Archer.
Right.
And they're not very good shows, to be honest, the demos they've given out.
Yeah.
However, in how long, when did we first start getting AI stuff? 2-3 years ago?
A little bit before that.
So in a couple of years, right at the point where you can AI generate YouTube-style Flash cartoons. Mm-hmm. Well, do they still call it Flash cartoons? I would say in 1 year, like there are, and you can, they say join the alpha. They're making AI generated shows. I thought they had like a demo of.
The other thing about this is they're going to get around the pushback in the industry because the models they're using will run on their own material.
Pull this up.
Oh my God.
But Phil, you're a musician. I'm a screenwriter. She's a comedian. Like, what about God-given talent and all of that? Is that just going to be discounted as not necessary?
You're done. Yep. How are you going to? Listen. Do you know how they made House of Cards with Kevin Spacey?
No.
Netflix is like their first foray into making a show. They said, in the Netflix data, we found that Kevin Spacey movies have a really high retention rate and political thrillers have a really high retention rate. So we're going to make a political thriller with Kevin Spacey and boom, House of Cards is a major hit. Then, of course, he was accused of like raping a bunch of dudes or something, and the show fell apart.
That was also a
They
big
just
deal.
honored him. Come
That
on.
was a big deal at the time too, because streaming was not getting stars of Kevin Spacey's level at that time. But the other thing is they're going to train these models in-house on their own material, so there won't even be copyright concerns because Disney will train.
No, I
for-
know about their copyright. Fucking vampirism.
Then you understand. So the problem is
Yeah, they
right
don't
now,
care about
one of the big things is that the actors, their concern is that their material is going to be used to train AI models. They're doing this with the animators right now. When animators for these studios make new material, all of that is being fed into AI training models so that they can get around without them in the future.
So YouTube knows right now exactly what kind of content will do the best. How can you compete with an algorithm that's looking at all of the shows and all of the stories and all of the data? You're going to write a story and, actually we can put it this way. Remember when movies used to be good? Like Groundhog Day?
Yeah.
Now every movie is just Transformers.
Terrible, yeah.
It's the same because
Superheroes.
it's because the studios, through the human mind alone, have whittled it down to here's what tends to make the most money.
Yeah.
Imagine how fast an AI system is going to do it. So you'll write a script, give it to them, and they'll say, yeah, the AI scored you a 47% on this script. We're not buying it.
Right.
Someone else is going to come and be like,
Oh my God.
We got to make our stuff really fast.
Yeah, really fast.
maybe there will be some kind of aesthetic of vinyl where it's like, dude, I love these campy human-made movies. They're never really good.
Yeah.
But we're cool for
I
watching.
mean, we're going to have to watch
That's the
A24 movies.
Exactly.
Doomed to a life of A24. I
Then
can't
we better
handle
get
it.
on the set fast.
know,
We're
right?
not even going to watch
Tim
it.
is wrong. Tim is wrong, though. I saw Ballerina last night. It was a lot of fun.
Oh my God, I want to see that so
was
bad.
great.
Was it? I
was a
bet
lot
it
of
He's
fun.
was.
one of
Keanu in
the
it?
only people
He
still
does show
making
up.
movies, Keanu Reeves.
How much screen time does he get?
Cumulatively, like 8 minutes.
Okay. Eight's good.
They-
if it was less than
and
5, I'd be.
They use him in a way that bolsters her character without like hurting his.
Oh, so they're not friends.
No. The idea is like they don't hurt his image. They do end up mild spoiler alert. They do have a confrontation, but they don't make him look worse in this. But it was a lot of fun. Go for
I
it.
can't wait to see
I
it.
just are there, how many John Wicks are there? 5?
There's 4. There was a television series called The Continental, and then
I just want to see Keanu Reeves running around shooting people.
Yeah.
So make another one.
That's
That's
the point
the
of the movie.
greatest thing.
You know what I
that's
want.
ever
You know,
been.
was Jason Statham in any of them in yet?
no.
Okay, come on.
Jason's
I will watch any
Just
movie.
order that.
I know. I swear, like when this comes out, I'm gonna be like, I want Keanu Reeves and Jason Statham teaming up and fighting bad guys.
That's
Absolutely,
literally.
I love it. I'll go see them all.
That's what The Expendables was. Literally, that's what ChatGPT. If you want an idea of a movie that's actually great, the first Expendables is a great movie with Stallone and Statham and all of these actors. Dolph Lundgren. It does feel like the type of thing where somebody's like, I want to see Dolph Lundgren, Jason Statham, Sylvester Stallone, and Jet Li in a movie together. And I was like, what? That's what that movie was. But that movie has some soul because
Well, they were just like, let's bring all these action stars
Yeah, it was
together and make
great.
one movie.
It was great.
But I swear, right now, please hear me, Hollywood. If you make a movie where Keanu Reeves and Jason Statham team up to get revenge,
Yep.
like literally, here, I'll tell you this: literally, just make it that Jason Statham's son is shot by mobsters, and as they're escaping, they run over Keanu Reeves' dog, and that's the plot. And
That's a
I
good
would
one.
watch it on
Absolutely.
repeat.
The Working Man was good too. That was
that's what I'm
Statham's
saying.
movie. The movie was great.
That was his kid got killed, and then
Yeah.
That
Who did the Beekeeper? Was that him?
That was him as well.
I love that one.
Absolutely.
They're doing a new one of that one as well.
I don't care. Actually, just give me no plot. Make it like he orders a hot dog and the guy forgets to put mustard on it. But it's a mafia-owned hot dog restaurant.
Yeah.
So it opens a can of worms.
I mean, when I was doing my review,
I just always wanted to be in a movie where I can kill a lot of people. I really do. And my friend finally, he wrote me a part in a movie where I will be able to kill a bunch of people. I'm so excited.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like when I was doing the review for Ballerina. Like, this is the plot. It doesn't really matter. These are all the big action scenes and stuff that matters in it. But in Ballerina,
who's the main character?
her name's Eve and De Armas.
The actor. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
Oh,
one
okay. She's
Mission
all right.
Impossible.
She's all right.
She proved that she could do that stuff in No Time to Die.
Right.
But
I mean, it's like there were a lot of people they try and do these movies with, but Keanu and Jason Statham are like,
Yeah, you believe them.
yeah.
they do this. They do an interesting.
I don't know if
thing
I'm going
in,
to believe some girl doing that.
No. Here's the thing. Like they actually take point to address it in the film. Like you'll always be smaller. You'll always be weaker. Just cheat. like kick them in the nuts and then shoot them. That's basically what they advise her to do.
That's good
perfect.
advice.
Now in the movie, they're like, because I was like, she's not a Mary Sue because she gets her ass kicked the whole movie. She just is able to take more punishment than any human being could ever take. But that was out the window in John Wick 3 when he fell off the roof and survived. So we're well past that in that movie. But it is a lot of fun. You should go see it this week.
You know what I'm saying? The next Fast and the Furious, because I will watch all of those movies too. They got to get superpowers.
They should.
Yeah, like Vin Diesel is working on a car with like a new experimental governmental engine or whatever.
Radiation.
It blows up and they all get blasted and then they get superpowers.
I really thought that they were going to cross over with the Transformers.
They should have.
Fast
Yes.
and Furious.
Wasn't that like a rumor?
That makes sense.
Same,
it makes
same
perfect sense.
studio.
Well, hold on. Just think about it. All of these ideas and more. Anything you could want. Just tell the AI, I want Vin Diesel riding Optimus Prime. Boom, it'll make it.
And also,
backwards.
it's been primed for that too because all of this stuff has been consolidated down to just a few movie studios that own everything now. And tech companies have now taken a large interest in movies as well. Apple, Amazon, Google.
I will say,
Wouldn't it be great though if something blew up and nothing
it all
worked?
went down.
It'd be so great. The whole world blew up and
Like,
nothing
they live.
could work.
We can pull the
nothing
plug.
electronic or machine-like work.
I would love
we all had to go
Luddite.
back to raising shit from the ground up. And
I got chickens.
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
you do.
We had a garden on the last property, fruit everywhere.
Yep.
And I don't mind sweating.
I want to go live.
See,
like
that's
that.
what's going to happen because it's so stupid. We will just push our way to blow up everything and we'll go back to ground zero. That's what's going to happen.
Well, what's interesting is that so much land is needed to make this happen for energy, for water, these giant data. So there is a very scary thing here about that they're going to be building these gigantic data centers all over the country. And,
And they always over garbage everything. So there's no place to throw anything out anymore. They run out. And so they just bury themselves in fucking garbage heaps and die off. And then the rest of us have to start growing shit all over again. Of course, I'll be dead, but take my words for it, youngsters.
I don't know. Maybe once AI. So, are y'all familiar with what the singularity is?
yeah.
Yeah,
When that happens, immortality will be solved instantly.
absolutely.
I don't want to be alive forever.
Yeah, but I mean, this could be in a year or two. Now, the question is, will they give the public access to that information? Probably not. But maybe there will be some dude who's in government and they're like, the AI has given us this pill that will make you young forever. And the guy goes, there's one person, guy. They're like, okay, so give it to your families, only the powerful elites. And then one guy goes, guys, we got to give Roseanne one.
I know, right? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I know so much about that because it's like really deeply, I forget the word, theological. I've studied it for a long time. I think I think we are on the edge of it. I think it could very well happen in the next year. Because, they isolated the gene for immortality within the cancer cell. You knew that, right?
How the cells replicate perfectly every time.
Yeah, the cancer cell never dies until the host body dies.
There's the HeLa cells, which they've been using for 70 whatever years. But the idea is that right now, what they're doing in the medical field, what they're trying to develop is they want everybody's medical data because once they plug it into an AI, it will be able to correlate. So there's this viral video where a doctor, he's a pulmonologist or something. I don't know. He's a lung doctor. And he's like, here's an x-ray of lungs. Notice here these marks and these marks. And he's like, I can tell that this person has double pneumonia based on this and this and this. Now I'm going to upload the photo into an AI. Enter. And it goes, blink, pneumonia. Here's why. And he said, well, I'll be applying it at McDonald's tomorrow. Because a simple computer program for $20 a month is going to tell you what your sickness is.
Yeah.
So theoretically, if everybody's medical data is plugged into the machine, it's going to be able, the idea is that you'll take a drop of your blood, you'll put it in the machine, and then it'll go, spit out a pill made on the spot that you take, it cures you, whatever it might be.
Fantastic. I mean, we do have the intelligence and the capability to go there with things. which that's cool.
But it seems with all of this, though, then we have to forget that we have a constitution, a Bill of Rights, any kind of autonomy, any kind of sovereignty of any kind, health-wise. Like it's a true bargain away from life, from humanity. You know, that's
If
what
we
we're
could cure
expecting.
disease?
No, not that. I mean more if we're giving over everything to AI and to all of that. It just seems to me that
Fuck that. No,
humanity is
people
done.
ain't going to do that. It's only some people is going to do that, but not everybody's going to go for that. People want more simple lives, and they want a life of the mind, I think.
That's what's getting lost here, is though the life
We
of the
got to
human
keep
mind.
that. We have to keep the lie of the mind. We have to keep the life of the mind for people who like to sit and talk and think. That's got to stay somehow.
Well, so ignoring all of the AI stuff, which is going to, I think the AI movie stuff is going to ruin movies and shows for us.
Yeah.
Just like how for those that play video games, when you get God mode, you play for a little while and then get bored of it because that's what's going to happen with movies.
It'll be a backlash.
I just,
go back.
people are going to be like, it's kind of dumb that I can watch anything. It's not fun. There's no excitement anymore. I know what's going to happen.
There's no surprise.
Yeah, maybe what happens is one prediction I have is that I was talking to my buddy Andy, and he's a huge Final Fantasy nerd. So he's going to be able to open up, Sony or whoever has the rights to Final Fantasy and say, make a movie based on Final Fantasy VII, make it a part 2, here's what happens. It'll render the movie, he'll upload it to his, showrunner page or whatever, and he'll get 1 million followers, and they're like, I love Andy's movies, dude. He's got the best movies. And that's what it'll be. You'll just have followers because your posts will be good movies and good content.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It'll be like a limited. Not everybody's going to go for it.
But just
Is there going to be a caste system in this AI world,
Yes,
though? I mean,
absolutely.
that's another thing. Like, who's
Well, I
gonna,
think-
who's going to be the important? Who's AI going to choose?
that's currently the issue right now. YouTube, for instance, chose Mr. Beast.
Yeah, I've been banned from YouTube since 2020. I'm not
So-
allowed to go back on. So
YouTube can decide
yeah,
who's on the front page. And so I'll say this as arrogantly as I can. If the argument is high engagement and high viewership is what is promoted on YouTube, we'd be on the front page every day.
right.
Because we have the second biggest stream in the country, right behind Steven Crowder. But actually, it's the opposite. They seek to suppress. So there is a motivation in we don't want content like that
Right.
on our channel. We want Mr. Beast to wiggle thousands of dollars of people's faces and make them fight for money. You know what Mr. Beast needs? Here's the first thing I would make with an AI. I'd be like, make a video where Mr. Beast walks up to a group of people, says, who wants 10 grand, grabs a pool stick, cracks it in half, throws it on the ground, and then says, come and take it. That's the AI video I would generate.
Like the Joker in The Dark Knight.
Yeah, tryouts.
Yeah, tryouts.
I don't even know who is Mr. Beast.
He's
I didn't either.
He
Until
he gets like
recently,
100
'cause I don't
million
go
views
on
per YouTube video or more.
Yeah, he's a pretty
Is it a
famous
guy?
Yeah, he's a dude. He's good at what he does. Don't get me
He's
wrong.
Kids are his audience.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, he's also pretty smart businessman. He's got fast food joints that he's opened.
Really?
And like food, right? For
Organic
kids.
candy bars with no
Yep.
junk in them.
Yeah.
So he's good at what he does. But YouTube puts him on the front page. They could put anybody on the front page, but that's what they want on the front page.
Why? What
Because
makes
it's
them
family
decide
friendly.
to
It's
inoffensive.
Parents will press. It's entertaining. Parents
a
and kids will
babysitter.
watch it. It's a
It's a
babysitter.
babysitter,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why Miss Rachel is also very big. She gets hundreds of millions of views because she puts the amount of time her videos are in the thumbnail. And then parents who hate their children will put that in front of their kids and press play and then walk off.
They like
I
set their
said
alarm on their
nobody's
phone.
watching Miss Rachel in this house. No fucking way. There's no Miss Rachel around here.
Nah,
She's-
I'm me.
It
Bugs the fuck out of me, Miss Rachel.
it freaks me out that there are parents, and I don't necessarily blame the parents. This is a system that we built. So when you say like, how do we stop it? Is it going to keep? Well, yeah. Take a look what parents do. Their kid cries. They hand them an iPad, and then say, "Have fun."
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And the kid, after the kid's on there a while, like even 20 minutes, it's a mean little brat. It's nice while you're relating to it and it's doing human things. But after it's on that video for just a few minutes, it goes, I need water.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, You say please.
But this is what's crazy to me is that, I've had people say to me, "Oh, well, my kid freaks out and gets really angry if I don't give it to him," and I'll be like, "How do they know it exists?"
Yeah. Well, that's
Or how about you be a parent and say no?
Yeah, they can't do that because they're all on their deal. The whole damn family's on that.
Well, it's also just the way social order is broken down. I think it's the challenge is that I know there's going to be a lot of parents out there like, you don't understand how hard it is. I have no time. Me and the wife both have to have jobs. Who's going to watch our kids? So the kid has to go to school. Okay, well, then those teachers are showing gay porn to your kids.
Yeah,
and that's not an exaggeration. That's literally happening. And then the kids come back, but you got to do paperwork. So you hand the tablet to them and press play. And then YouTube's showing gay porn to your kids.
No kidding. It's not a joke. It's for real.
Yep.
Yeah,
We had a liberal on the show on the Culture War this morning, the soy pill, and he said schools should be teaching kids about gay porn and stuff.
insane.
Yeah.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I just think maybe it's time they drop the big one. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
Well, that's why there's that meme of meteorite 2028, just come end it all, and it's a picture of a meteor slamming into the earth.
To be fair,
Noah get the boat is the meme.
I never saw it, but
Oh my
I mean,
God.
for real, it can't get much worse.
Don't say that, please.
And then there's nothing but suffering and imbeciles. Who wants that?
Well,
And no water.
Well, I mean, look at what happened to you and your show. I mean, it's absurdity. It's insane.
It is so crazy. And as time goes by after 8 years, now I look back and go, it's not possible.
that it really happened.
It's not possible.
That's why I made you to make Roseanne Barr is America, because,
But it's not
the end.
possible that we were ever as stupid as that. And I think that could have been the hit and bottom of stupidity.
What canceling your show over that BS?
No, just that time when it was just pre-COVID. Maybe COVID was the bottom.
Oh,
Where everybody got the friggin' shot because they told them to go get the shot.
well,
Everyone went.
I have good news for you.
What?
Well, okay, so we had a super chat from Paul Bruce who said, talk about the North Magnetic Pole Drift. So there is a theory, it's called the Adam and Eve theory, where there's a lot of people who believe that every 6,500 years, the poles will flip, causing the planet to tilt.
Yeah.
And so what'll happen is Antarctica will move to the equator.
Mm-hmm.
The northern hemisphere, largely the United States, will flip. So it'll largely stay the same, but for Florida, I think Florida becomes cold, like PA. And when this happens, it'll cause great floods and wind. The weakening of the magnetic pole will allow solar radiation to come in and wipe out the entire electrical grid, shutting everything down.
Oh, that's horrible.
Did you give a thumbs up? So I don't. So there are people who actually believe this will happen. Mainstream science says once every 800,000 years the poles will shift. So whether or not the planet tilts doesn't matter. The idea is, we recently saw a major blackout in Spain, Portugal, and France, and in Puerto Rico. Then cell service went down, and some people speculate, perhaps wrongly, that it is a fact that there is a weakening of the magnetosphere. This is just mainstream science. It is drifting from the North Pole. Mainstream science says it's not going to flip or do anything dramatic and switch sides or anything, but there are people who believe it will. And when it does, there will be a brief period where standard solar radiation will penetrate to the surface of the Earth and just fry all of our electronics.
See, that would be the best thing for everybody. It really would.
I mean, a lot of people would die, but
But after they're hauled away, then the rest of us will go back to talking with each other and,
raising chickens.
and creating music and doing fun things.
It'll be a renaissance.
Yes.
It might be.
Yeah.
Or it'll be
And
like
anybody
Walking Dead.
who's on their phone too much, I mean, I am too, I know. But maybe we need to learn something different to be more in touch with our own humanity rather than, I said fuck off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, we're going to go to your chats, my friends. So smash the like button, share the show with everyone including your neighbors. Have you gone to your neighbor's house, knocked on their door, and told them to watch Timcast IRL yet? You should.
I tell them to share it with their mortal enemy, and then you should fight about our show, preferably in the comments section to increase our engagement.
That's good.
That's a good one. But we're going to read your chats, so get those Rumble rants and Super Chats in now, and we'll read what you have to say. Let's see what do we got here. Shane H. Wilder says, no pithy comment today. Just want to say, go support Brett and Olivia's derpy cat, Mocha. She ain't doing too hot. Give Send to Go / Mocha recovery and have a blessed weekend, homies. What happened?
She had some imaging done, and they found like a cancerous lesion, that's like a tumor in her stomach, and they have she has to go back in for imaging in a month. So it's just we love you, Mocha.
Oh,
Sorry.
Well, God bless you, Mocha. I hope it's all gone pretty soon.
Wow. Let's see. Hammerhead says the clown on the Culture War today tried the same tactic with Tim and Russia that they did with Trump and the Steele dossier. In both cases, they used the fact that you were made aware of the accusation as evidence. Yes. On the Culture War, the dude basically said, I made a bunch of fact points about the U.S. involvement in Ukraine, Syria, Russia's invasion. And he said, why should I listen to you when you've been accused of taking money from Russia indirectly? Yeah. And then I said, if that's your attempt to refute fact-based issues in history, you're like, okay, whatever.
No, it's Saul Alinsky tactic. Don't debate what you're saying. Just go right after you. That's how they shut you down.
This is one of the issues is that half of the political faction in this country doesn't care what's true. They care what's politically expedient.
It's all
No,
stupid.
they don't pay any attention to anything true. And I used to be a rabid leftist. I mean, I've said that. I was raised that way. And I remember the fights we used to think up, me and my girlfriends who were rabid leftists. And it's like, doesn't matter what they say. Just go, say, it doesn't matter what you say because you have a little dick. And that was our preparing for debates and stuff like that. And
you just go after the person.
Yeah.
You never talk about the substance. That's
no, it matters secondarily.
Yeah.
The other thing is, in the internet world, if you want attention and you want to be, here's my advice to all the young people out there: you want to be a famous political commentator. The key is to intentionally debate stupid people.
That's a good idea.
This is the way it works. So, and I mean this with no disrespect. Ben Shapiro got really big when he went on college tours and was debating unlearned college kids. I'm not saying he's wrong for doing it, but it is massively entertaining to conservatives when a young, derpy leftist at a college asks a stupid question and then Ben runs circles around him. It's entertaining. Charlie Kirk does this as well with TPUSA. They go to universities and he allows people to come to the microphone, and these young people don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
Dean Withers got a lot of attention on Jubilee for gish galloping, I think, Ben Shapiro. And what he does now is he largely just finds random Trump supporters to debate and insult. And that's what works. If you want to have a real conversation with someone trying to understand what they're talking about, that's not really going to do that well.
Yeah, I know all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only like to talk to people I think are smarter than me. So it's
I mean,
it's a different model.
Here's what you do.
It is a different model.
You start a YouTube
like
channel.
to learn something from interviewing something, buddy.
Start a YouTube channel where you're the intelligent conservative and your liberal friend tries to debate you, but they always just lose. Like Harlem Globetrotters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People love that stuff.
It's not worth it if you can't make the thumbnail that says "destroyed" in big letters.
Yeah, that has to be part
Hannity
of
and
it.
Combs was,
And especially if you're a dumbass who knows nothing about
Combs
history,
awful.
and then you pick experts to debate with, and then you say, "Oh, who cares about international law?" That's the one that's got me now. Who really cares about lawyers for international law? It doesn't matter about international law. It doesn't matter about experts of international law. That one's got me going. I swear to God. You know what I'm talking about, right?
yeah.
We got this from That Place That I Am. Fauci's pardon only protects him from federal charges, so a state could go after him and lock him up. Yeah.
Somebody's got to go after the
Well,
guy.
I think Kansas is going after Pfizer for false advertising. I think that's a case that's really going on. Which they did say it was safe and effective over and over and over, as
But
did $11 billion worth of bought
somebody on
celebrities and
earth who has the capacity should go after Fauci,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Somebody.
Kash Patel, lock him up.
Yeah.
All right. Arsonist YouTube says, today hits my first week anniversary in the gym. It's not about making huge changes, just one small, healthy life change at a time. Go to the gym. Thank you, Phil.
Yes, go to the gym.
Great.
Nah.
Change somebody's life for the better. It's great.
Yeah.
I hate people who go to the gym. No, that's good. Good for you.
Nicholson says there was a show about a decade ago where humans release a nanotechnology that attacked electricity and anything that uses it. Looks like that's going to be our only salvation.
I gotta find that.
Revolution? No, that was 2007.
Have you seen Moonfall?
The movie?
Yeah.
Yes. It was
Have you all
amazing.
seen it?
Really? I got to see that.
It's
I've never heard of
about the moon starts falling.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But it turns out
The moon's evil.
that the moon is a space base built by ancient humans to create the Earth from scratch because there was a great human expansive galactic civilization that created an AI, and the AI turned on the humans and started killing them. But the AI would do one thing. It would track biological life near electrical systems. So if it was like a dog running around, it wouldn't do anything. If there was a light switch, it wouldn't do anything. But when biological life came close to a source of electricity, it would destroy both. And so what happens is the AI eventually finds the moon, which is a space base, and starts destroying it. So it starts falling to crash into the Earth. And then they go to the moon and save the day.
He's making this movie sound so much more intelligent than it actually was.
That's what the movie's about.
it. Sounds good, though.
It's largely people like running from the moon, crashing into the Earth.
It's a Roland. It's the guy who made Independence Day. It's
really?
Roland Emmerich. Yeah. It's
I never even heard of it.
And then like the air is getting pulled off the surface of the Earth by the gravity of the moon, and they're going.
Yep.
And then they run and jump right as the moon's coming, and they get pulled up by the moon, and they jump really far.
oh man, I'm gonna go rewatch that this weekend.
Guys, movies, I don't know. What about romance movies? I bet you never seen
make
any.
They don't make those anymore. Well, they do. They make them for streaming, and nobody watches them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But
I wouldn't
women
watch 'em.
women just watch Dateline.
Yeah,
That's all.
true.
The murder. That's
right.
all I watch.
And every time
See?
I think, like, God, I'm like rooting for the killer to get it. You know, like it's such a
I just
bad
want him to
move.
get caught. I love when they
I look
get
at the
caught.
other way. I say, why would they say that? They're gonna get caught.
I just saw
them to get
on
caught.
that subject, y'all. I just saw the best. What's his name? Bundy. Oh my God! I thought I watched everything about Ted Bundy, but no, this was a new one. It's so scary, freaky, because Bundy was always thinking of himself as smarter than the FBI and all the cops, and that was his,
Yeah, he would talk
thing
them
that
to
would
their
make
faces.
him feel so smart. It was that he was like, I'm smarter than all the police. And then this one guy, the guy that finally got him for his teeth, his bites.
Oh yes.
And the guy was trying to get him and gave him apples when he was in the death row there. And somebody goes, how come I never get any fruit? And Bundy stops cold eating the apple, and he's like, they're trying to get me with my bite marks. Anyway, it was just so interesting how finally he went, oh my God, I'm not as smart as this guy. And just like they said, he went nuts and tore his cell all up. 'cause
Really?
Wow.
It's like somebody is finally smarter than me. And I was like, that's damn good. Because that's
Women love
disease
true
of
crime.
that.
Yeah,
I
do.
like when they get caught. I like how they do all this stuff for a really long time and they think they're smarter and nobody's going to get them. And then something real little brings them down.
This is what Trump needs to win elections, right? I mean, he's not going to run again, but I'm like, he just needed to spend money on a true crime series about him. Like when the court case was happening and like the fraud trial, he should have paid for a true crime series that just paints him in a slightly better light and results in people being like, he's innocent. They're lying.
Maybe they'll do that after.
He would come out and he'd be like, they're lying, they're crooks. I didn't do it. Just make a true crime
He
series.
tried to do that, but they put the slap down on him. He
Right.
couldn't
Gag-
even say
gag
that.
orders.
Remember? They put the gag
He would
order
have done
on
press
him.
conferences every single day if he could.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they put the gag order. He couldn't even say these are some lying folks.
One true crime series. You know they do those true crime series where it's like the person was falsely convicted.
Yeah, that's
I like
terrible.
those too.
But it's like there was that one, was it Making a Murder or whatever?
Yeah.
Where they tried painting it like the guy was innocent, but then the prosecutor came out and said, like, actually, he's probably guilty, and here's the evidence. Here's why. These people are making a show. They admit they're making a show. They don't care if it's true or not. Trump just needs to make a docuseries about the crimes that omits anything that makes him look bad. So it look and make the prosecutors look bad, and then all the women are going to be like, he's innocent, let him go.
Well, I think he will do that by the end of his second term. I think there will be great documentaries on what they did to him. Look at everything available.
They're making another like actual Hollywood movie about him now that's supposed to paint him in a more favorable light.
Really?
Remember Mueller? Was it Mueller, She Wrote?
Mueller, She Wrote, yeah.
They basically made a true crime show that was anti-Trump, and women were addicted to it.
Yep.
Are you
No, I
serious?
never
What,
heard
covering
of
the Mueller case, the Mueller
Yeah.
investigation?
And then once that ended, they just
Fraud?
kept going with hating Trump.
Oh God.
Mueller,
Still,
She
it's
Wrote.
still an
Come
X
on.
account.
But how about these people that feel so? I mean, I feel bad for these people that watch The View and all these shows that all they talk about. It's such toxic hate that affects your psychology, or like these people. If you ever speak to a true Trump hater, it's very sad. You just think,
Oh,
like,
I got
how
them
could you
all
have
over
so
my
much hate in
family.
your house.
My favorite is just trolling people.
Yeah, well, you're
Me
good at
too.
I tweeted, Trump can't do anything wrong because Trump is the nexus of morality. That means that whether it is good is simply whether or not Trump has done it. If he does it, it is good. And all these anti-Trump people are like, oh my God, you're in a cult. I can't believe you say that.
Right. I mean, they lose their mind.
I love it. I love to
worked up.
troll them.
And then I'm just like sitting on my couch with my wife texting, and she's looking at me rolling her eyes, and I'm like, look, I'm sending it. I
That's
tweeted,
my whole life too.
it's great.
Oh, yeah.
And then I feel bad for the people who are smart enough to get it, because they're trying to tell people like, stop it. He's screwing with you. Why don't you understand? And they're like, you're so dumb.
Yeah, but these liberal women between like 40 and 60, they are filled. They're so easily triggered when it comes to Trump.
But
You
they
have to
don't
wonder.
really know why.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Did you see my where I championed Greta? What's her ass?
Thunberg?
Thunberg?
I said, let Greta in. I'm trying to.
Get her into Gaza?
She's promoting having a
I love how she's like,
Greta go into Gaza.
Good for her.
I love how
think she should.
Greta Thunberg is like, the climate is changing and people will die. So now we have to go to Gaza. And it's just like, what?
Idiots.
I hope she would. I wish she would go in there and they'd be led around and she could help them all.
You have to have a certain understanding of like intersectional politics to understand what the climate has to do with Gaza.
Yeah.
Like that's something that it's an idea so stupid only a university professor could come up with it. Like,
She's AI, I think. I think she's a complete AI invention of her parents.
Or
That
transhuman.
well, her parents are
a robot.
libtards.
Yeah.
She is a libtard. I mean, a
A
robot.
robot.
Yeah. Same thing.
All right, we'll grab some more. We'll grab some more chats. What do we have here? Quantum Strange Quark says, remember on this day, June 6th, 1944, how many soldiers died on the beaches of Normandy to protect our freedom?
I'm not sure they were protecting our freedom as much as, I don't know. I look
don't?
back at World War II and I think we're going to...
She thinks
You were
that the
protecting
Germans lost, but the Nazis won, and I have to agree with her.
Yeah, I think the Germans...
They came
I
to
don't
America
think the Nazis
and
lost.
they took over the whole Bush fucking.
They were given, I mean, the Bushes were Nazis. I mean, like,
Prescott.
yeah, back in the early days when Nazism was actually normal in the United States. And then after, when World War II started, they all started backing away, being like, oh, we don't want to be associated with that.
Yeah.
But it's not like people just change their worldviews overnight.
No.
So yeah, Prescott, Bush.
You know who else was in that family, or the Rothschild banking family of all those criminals? Did you know that Adam, what's his name? The bug-eyed guy, Adam Schiff. Did you know it's the
Loeb
Rothschild
family?
Schiff family? A lot of people don't know that.
I hope that
They're
Schiff,
the
I think
same
it's Loeb
family.
Schiff, right?
No, I thought it was Rothschild Schiff.
I wouldn't be surprised, but...
I just
That's one family. Schiff
I
is
hope
one
that
of them.
I hope that Adam Schiff grew up watching Roseanne, so that
Me too.
he can see you say this, and just like a single tear comes down his face.
I've already called him and what's her AOC.
Oh.
They got the realtor eyes, the big bug-eyed realtor look. You know, you see them on those bus stops where they're like, "Hi, need a house? Call this number." They look like that, you know. I don't know.
All right, let's go. Punk Rock Fox says statute of limitations only starts when you discover the crime and the suspect. If you just discover the crime, it hasn't started yet. Indeed.
Is that true?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, people
I thought it had to go back to when you
when you
did
committed
it.
the crime.
only upon awareness of it.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of crimes that could still be found out then.
good.
Yep. Let's see. Kelly McWright says, sorry, I can't believe Kash scapegoat the Epstein case and now throws his out statement of already deleting his devices. Either Pam, Kash, or both are lying about the 10,000 hours of child porn, and the names are too big to charge. Perhaps.
I don't have the sense that they're actually lying. I know that people are going to be bummed about that, but
I mean, if you can't trust Kash and Dan, then that's it. You lose.
Yeah.
Because who's better than
Right.
them? That's why I'm like, I can imagine a scenario where they're not being truthful, but it's because the machine state is impenetrable. Like, if you release this, they'll come after your family, or if you release this, it'll destroy the U.S. economy. But I largely just think 80% of it is true.
But how about, I mean, just to me, I just don't understand not going after the white collar crimes then that are connected
Well,
to
I think they probably are.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
maybe
I
maybe
think
it's
that would
just
be-
not over yet.
It's not, and they didn't even have enough time yet, and I trust them both very much. But what I believe is that the white collar crimes are going to be the easiest way to go after most of these people, and then from that point, also I want like when it comes to like the auto pen, I think we need to know that that doctor that looked at Fauci and all the people that used it. I mean, there's so many layers of what's going on, and then the whole cover up all the way back to 2016. So I think they have a lot on their plates, and they're trying to prioritize in a very hostile environment.
I agree. All right, what have we here? True Binnez says, what if our government doesn't really control America?
Well, there's a big bingo.
I think the CIA.
I think Ukraine controls America.
You do?
Yeah. Zelensky flew here and went to Congress. They waved his flag and then gave him hundreds of billions of dollars.
Yeah, no, I think
It's the Ukrainians. It's always been the Ukrainians. Yeah.
Really?
no. Global public.
I think it's the Chinese. I think it's the Chinese control everything.
I think it's a combination of various foreign interests. I think the Saudis have a lot of control
Yeah.
because of the petrodollar. China is the biggest spender on foreign lobbying in the United States, like $460 million or something per year.
Yeah. I mean, I still think that the entire State Department and the CIA and all of them have been involved in the international foreign policy above the government for decades. I mean, they function with the USAID, dark
I
money, and
know.
all that.
It's just Satan.
Yeah,
Let's
I
just
agree.
be real. Satan is in charge of everything. And maybe it's almost over.
Smeet Knight says, Roseanne, I grew up with you on the television. I'm grateful for all the laughs. My family and I who watch you every day want to say we love you.
Well, I love you back. Thank you, honey.
Come see
I
our
just-
movie.
Yeah,
And Bar is America.
I do got to say, it was like the cringiest thing when they brought the show back without you. That
Oh,
makes
it's so
no
gross.
sense.
And then killed her with a
yeah.
drug overdose.
Killed me too. I thought, oh Christ, they're killing me too.
And you have all the characters outside like, oh, well, she did get addicted to drugs. And you're like, I know.
I was
Yeah, like,
looking.
don't even
I was
care.
like, oh my God, I can't
Whatever.
believe these guys are doing that, but they
a bunch
did
of
it.
losers.
well, it sucks, but it's her own dumb fault.
Right. That's how it was.
I
Let's
was
move
like,
on.
what? Couldn't they have done it in a better way? Like I could have ran over some Girl Scouts drunk or something. I thought of the many other ways they could have
you go to
killed me and
prison.
left me some dignity.
Yeah, that's the problem. They could have done that, but they chose not
Yeah.
to.
Well,
I mean, I gotta be
could've-
honest,
They
if-
could have not fired you and
Well-
just kept
Yeah,
going with the
That's
Roseanne.
true.
To be fair, if they did make the story that you were drunk driving and ran over Girl Scouts and went to prison, I would be like, it is bad they fired you, but that is pretty funny.
Yeah, it could have been funnier.
Oh no, they didn't make it funny at all.
No,
they
it's
could
just
have.
weird.
Right.
It's like one day they're like, by the way, she does drugs and she's dead.
Right.
It's like, wait,
and that was it. And then didn't they ask you to come back?
Oh yeah, they asked me to come
As a
back
ghost.
at the end as a ghost.
It's true.
I said, wait a minute, you're asking me to come back to the show you stole from me
That's a
and
ghost.
killed me on, and then you want me to come back
They did.
and
What-
play myself as a ghost? I really
When
Can't do that.
for like a special guest appearance or what?
yeah.
Like for the finale?
Had to play to play a
Well,
ghost.
because it was losing ratings. So
To
they
play-
realized they might need
to
Roseanne.
play
Recurring character?
a ghost all the time.
Oh my God.
Recurring
What?
character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recurring. Mm-hmm. That's how.
hilarious.
Isn't
Okay,
it?
okay, hold on.
Isn't it? I should.
When was that?
What? Huh?
When was that? Are
That
they
was like the second season.
are they still doing the show?
Oh,
It
hell
got
no,
canceled
it
last
got
year.
canceled.
Okay, you should pitch the show to them and say what you want to happen is the Connors have a seance and they bring in a necromancer who brings you back from the dead. And they have to sacrifice someone else to do it.
Oh, someone in the family has to die. Darlene. No. Bye-bye, Darlene.
See ya.
No. I was just
I
like,
swear-
I can't believe it. It
When
was
that-
a little odd.
When that AI thing comes out, I'm making that show.
Okay, you got my blessing on it.
Yeah. You just take her to
It's
one
a
of the
little odd.
studios.
And they're all gathered around, be like, we need to bring back Roseanne. And the necromancer's like, but one of you has to die. And they all just look at Darlene and they're like, okay. Goodbye.
Fine.
Wow, I can't believe that.
Yeah, it's
They're like, we
weird.
shouldn't have fired you. The show sucks.
Yeah,
without
yeah. We need you to come back as a ghost.
As a guest star at 1/10 your pay when we fired you.
you. Wow.
Yeah, but whatever. God fixes stuff up.
wait,
He
hold-
better
wait.
fix this AI quandary, Lord.
So was it going to be like you would actually be walking around the house talking to them as a ghost?
I guess that's what they had in their minds.
Isn't it kind of weird to turn Roseanne from like a family-based sitcom into a supernatural comedy drama?
Yeah, they liked this English show where there was a ghost lady. They wanted me to.
Like 6 Feet Under.
Some show in England where a ghost
Ghosts.
lives in a house.
Yeah, ghosts.
Yeah,
It was called Ghosts.
yeah. I was like,
There's
the
an American-
only way I'll come back as a departed dead person is if I'm a prophet.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, here.
Was that?
I would
Raised
also
from the dead.
I would also respect if they brought you back and then you walk on the set and they go, "Oh, she's not dead. We were wrong.
Oh yeah, she just took off to Mexico.
We just never checked."
You know, I'm doing a new show, and I'll give you one little thing. I have a new show, and there's a bar mitzvah in it, and I'm going to. Roseanne Connor is making an appearance at the bat mitzvah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be hard. She must have made it through the
Well,
drug overdose.
She explains what really happened.
Oh, I love it.
It's kind of funny.
It's gonna be great.
That's insane. I can't
Yeah.
believe that.
Well, it's Hollywood.
Yeah. All right, what do we got here?
Maybe they could make a thin Roseanne.
Well,
in
you
the
are a thin
AI.
Roseanne.
Well,
now.
I mean,
what
young and thin and gorgeous for the AI Roseanne.
Your Roseanne's long lost evil twin.
Or her clone.
Yes.
We're getting into soap opera territory.
Right.
That's
Why not?
Yeah,
They wanted
very-
to put a ghost on
very
this show.
Falcon
that's what I'm
Crest.
talking about. I'm here for it.
Very Falcon Crest ideas here.
Oh yeah.
It really does feel like Hollywood's out of ideas.
Oh yeah.
They keep remaking the same stuff.
Terrible.
And they're just like, well, the ratings are down. What do we do? Roseanne's a ghost.
Ghost Roseanne.
Ghost.
I mean, I think that's because there's no more coke in the writing room or the executive rooms
exactly
anymore.
it.
See, back when the executives were snorting immense lines of cocaine, the
Yeah.
movies were awesome. Now everything's PC. Everybody's living healthy. They're drinking.
The execs are all stressed out.
They're all stressed out. They're not doing a bunch of drugs and taking script ideas.
Is that why the 70s and 80s were so great?
Yes.
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 All the
RoboCop.
it's the comics were in
RoboCop.
there.
Awesome.
The comedians were in there
Even
taking
Beverly
coke
Hills
and
Cop,
writing.
A lot of those comedies.
Yeah, the
48
comedy.
Hours.
I saw some. I saw the script that Sam Kinison turned in with all these razor cuts on it, booze stains. That was for Rodney Dangerfield Back to School, or one of them. That had
Man.
these coke lines and shit.
What was it? They were just saying that the Popeye movie was the most coked up movie set they'd ever seen in
Really?
all
I heard
time.
that.
Was it Robin Williams?
Yeah, it was Robin
Yeah,
Williams. They said
yeah.
like cocaine was being transported into the movie in film reels.
I can imagine that.
They were all on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live was funny back then when they had coke.
It's just not the same anymore.
Kept up on goofballs.
Yeah.
Now the kids
I bet the Simpsons writers too, right? Like Conan O'Brien in the early days,
I bet.
because early Simpsons was like it was season 2 through now is like a masterpiece.
Yes.
Or like each season, and now I don't know, like Abe's gay or something.
I don't watch it anymore because I never know when the fuck it's on or what channel. I can't follow TV.
Pretty sure it's always
I can't even
been-
turn it on. I got to get my 4-year-old granddaughter to turn the TV on for me now.
There's no
so
buttons
advanced.
anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Now it's like you have to look at a certain part of the TV and wink at it and then tell it what to do.
Probably
true.
you can buy a TV that you can talk to now, I think.
Really?
We have it.
Yeah.
We don't use it anymore. We had one at the last studio, and I think people kind of just were. It was kind of creepy.
Well, but it's watching you too, though, right?
Yeah, they're all spying on you.
That's fine.
Right.
Everything's watching.
All
Because
your stuff is spying
do
on
anything
you.
wrong.
The company's like, we're not collecting your data.
What is it? The Nest, the thing that does your temperatures.
Oh, yeah.
My son said that does spy on you, Mom.
Yeah, and Alexa got caught.
It'd be cool though if they just had big red evil eyes on all the devices.
That's what they should have.
That moves and like tracks you as you move around.
That would be nicer.
Yeah.
Just a reminder.
You just have to accept
I'm watching you.
Exactly.
So I will say this: people didn't seem to understand that when you bought those devices, I'm not gonna say their name. You would say its name to turn it on, and then you would tell it what to do. How do you think it knows when you say its name? It's always on.
Oh, that's true.
And it sends your data to a company that translates the sound into text and then sends the command to the device.
I think they allowed this, though. There was a whole bunch of things that came around in 2013, 2014, where the tech companies meshed with all the different agencies, FBI. There was some kind of thing. So I think that this has been going on a very long time.
Think of the thought behind it, though. How are we going to spy on all these people
That
and
is what the
everything
thought
they
is.
do, right?
It's technocracy. Yeah.
We got phones now.
Full surveillance.
Well, my friends, it has been, it was very fun. I appreciate having you guys.
It's
For
very
everybody
fun.
else, smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. We'll have clips up throughout the weekend. We're back Monday, of course, and tomorrow's going to be real fun. Do Mel and Roseanne, you want to shout anything out?
Well, you can check out my show. I am on Rumble, the Mel K Show, and I also want everyone to check out Roseanne's documentary. It's called Roseanne Barr is America. It'll be everywhere on the 10th of June, and I hope people love it. And I'm excited for people to hear your story, finally. It's very, very, very eye-opening about not just everything that happened to Roseanne, but Hollywood, too.
And the press, the crooked friggin' press that made everything into race when it wasn't race at all.
At all.
But I love y'all, and, they're never going to make me shut up. Fuck them. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Anytime.
I love you.
It was great.
Thank you so much.
Guys, if you want to follow me, I'm on Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. But what you should do is watch Pop Culture Crisis. We are live Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is noon Pacific, YouTube and Rumble. See you there.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. I'm Phil That Remains Official on Instagram. The band is All That Remains. The new record is called Anti-Fragile. You can check it out on YouTube, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, Pandora, and Deezer. Don't forget The Left Lane is for Crime.
We will see you all with clips throughout the weekend, and then we're back Monday. Thanks for hanging out.